In the quiet edges of an African forest, a young giraffe calf wandered away from its mother, curious about the buzzing sounds coming from a fallen tree trunk. Unknown to the baby giraffe, the hollow log was home to a massive colony of wild bees. Within moments, the bees swarmed, stinging the calf's tender skin and face. The frightened baby stumbled, its long legs tangling as it cried out in pain, attracting the attention of nearby animals. The calf's mother rushed in, swinging her neck and trying desperately to drive the bees away, but the furious swarm only grew stronger. The scene turned chaotic, dust rising, the mother giraffe panicking, and the baby collapsing to the ground. Word reached the local wildlife rescue team, who quickly set out through the forest, knowing time was slipping away. The team arrived with protective gear and smoke canisters to calm the bees. Working swiftly, they created a safe perimeter, pushing back the swarm until the calf could be reached. The baby giraffe lay weak, its eyes swollen and skin dotted with stings. With incredible care, the rescuers lifted the calf onto a stretcher, while the mother giraffe lingered close by, pacing anxiously but not attacking, as if sensing their intentions. Hours later at the rescue center, veterinarians treated the wounds, applying soothing balms and fluids to ease the pain. Slowly, the little giraffe regained strength, standing once more on its wobbly legs. When it was finally reunited with its mother at the edge of the forest, the sight was overwhelming. She bent low, nudging her baby gently, while the team looked on, their hearts heavy with relief and gratitude. It was not just a rescue of an animal, but a moment of deep connection between humans and the wild. The morning sun stretched golden rays across the African forest, turning the dew on the grass into shimmering beads. The baby giraffe, still tender from its ordeal, stood close to its mother, leaning against her towering legs for comfort. Though it had regained some of its strength, the sting marks scattered across its skin were raw reminders of the terrifying attack. Every now and then, it shook its neck sharply, as though still haunted by the sensation of bees swarming its face. Its mother lowered her head and nudged it gently, a silent reassurance that she was there, guarding, watching. The wildlife rescue team didn't leave immediately after the reunion. They stood at a respectful distance, watching the pair in silence. The forest around them seemed to acknowledge the moment too. Birds perched quietly, and even the usual rustling of monkeys in the trees was subdued. It was as though nature itself paused to witness the fragile yet powerful bond between the mother and her calf. But the team knew that survival in the wild was not guaranteed. The calf's body was still vulnerable, and the bees had left it weakened. "We can't just patch it up and walk away," said Miriam, the lead veterinarian, her voice calm yet firm. "It needs monitoring. If another predator finds it before it's fully recovered, it won't stand a chance." The others nodded in agreement. The plan was set. They would shadow the mother and calf from a safe distance, blending into the forest to ensure the young giraffe could safely adapt back into its environment. The first few days were tense. The calf wobbled whenever it tried to run, and its swollen eyes made it difficult to spot danger. Twice, a hyena pack approached, sniffing the air for weakness. But the mother giraffe, fierce in her protection, swung her powerful legs with enough force to send the hyenas scattering. Still, the team's hearts pounded every time they saw predators circling. Each evening, as the calf rested in the tall grass beside its mother, the rescuers remained nearby, using night vision equipment to ensure no harm came to the pair. On the fourth night, something remarkable happened. The baby giraffe, who had been cautious and hesitant since the attack, began to move with a little more confidence. Under the moonlight, it took a few bold steps away from its mother, stretching its neck toward the leaves of a small acacia tree. Its first attempt to nibble at the leaves ended awkwardly. The calf's head bobbed clumsily as it tried to coordinate its long neck. But then, with persistence, it managed to pluck a few leaves. The team watching from a distance broke into quiet smiles. It wasn't just feeding. It was a sign of recovery, a sign that the little giraffe was slowly regaining its independence. Days turned into weeks. The calf's wounds healed, leaving only faint scars that were hidden beneath patches of its patterned coat. Yet the trauma had changed its behavior. Unlike other young giraffes that often strayed a little farther from their mothers, this calf remained unusually close. Every rustle in the bushes made it flinch, every buzzing insect made it tense. Miriam noticed this and scribbled notes in her journal. Physical healing is remarkable, but emotional recovery lags behind. Trauma in animals is often overlooked. This calf carries memory as much as scars. The rescue team decided to intervene in subtle ways. They left out mineral-rich supplements disguised in natural food sources, giving the calf a boost in energy and strength. They also used their presence to drive away potential threats in the forest. At times, this meant long, grueling nights, where they stayed awake in shifts, listening to the haunting calls of hyenas and lions nearby. But none of them complained. Every member of the team had been touched by the calf's struggle, and in its story, they saw not just an animal's fight for survival but a reminder of the fragile balance of life in the wild. One afternoon, a sudden storm rolled in. The sky darkened quickly, and heavy rain pounded the earth. Thunder cracked through the forest, startling the calf. Lightning illuminated the trees, and in the chaos of the storm, the calf stumbled into a muddy patch, struggling to free its legs. Its mother bent down frantically, trying to encourage it to rise, but the mud pulled hard. From their shelter, the team saw the danger and rushed in despite the downpour. With ropes and steady hands, they worked beside the mother giraffe, who, amazingly, did not attack them. It was as if she remembered their help before. Together, human and animal, they freed the calf, pulling it onto firmer ground. Exhausted, it collapsed into the wet grass, breathing heavily but safe. That night, as the storm passed and stars appeared once more, Miriam whispered softly, "This calf is more than a rescue case now. It's a survivor, and survivors carry stories that matter." Months later, the calf had grown taller, its legs steadier, and its eyes brighter. The bees that once nearly took its life were no more than a memory. Yet the rescue had rippled beyond just the giraffe and its mother. Local villagers, who had once viewed wildlife teams with skepticism, began to see their work differently. Some had witnessed the rescue firsthand, others heard the story spreading from mouth to mouth. Children in the villages spoke about the baby giraffe who fought the bees, and how people had saved it. To them, it became a living lesson in compassion and coexistence. The team continued to monitor the giraffes, but their visits grew less frequent as the calf grew stronger. By now, it had begun to venture farther from its mother, exploring bushes, practicing short bursts of running, and even interacting with other young giraffes in the herd. It wasn't the frightened calf anymore, it was a growing symbol of resilience. On one memorable evening, the rescue team gathered on a ridge to watch the herd. The sun was setting, painting the sky in strokes of orange and crimson. Among the tall figures, they easily recognized the once fragile calf. It stood tall, its neck stretched proudly toward the horizon. Suddenly, it broke into a playful gallop, weaving between the adults, its legs moving with strength and grace. Miriam felt her throat tighten, tears pricking at her eyes. "That's the same calf," she murmured. "The same little one who couldn't even stand after the attack. Look at it now." No one spoke after that. They just watched in silence, feeling the weight of the moment. For them, it wasn't just about saving one giraffe, it was about what that rescue represented. It was about hope, about the shared responsibility of humans to protect the vulnerable, and about the unspoken bond between species that so often goes unnoticed. As night fell and the team packed their equipment, the calf paused for a moment, turning its head as if sensing their presence. It stood still, ears flicking, eyes reflecting the last glimmers of light. And then, with one swift movement, it returned to its herd, disappearing into the tall grass. The rescuers walked away that night knowing their work was far from over. There would be more animals in need, more emergencies, more long nights under uncertain skies. But the story of the baby giraffe would remain etched in their hearts, a story they would carry back to villages, to schools, to conservation programs, reminding people that every life, no matter how small or fragile, mattered. And somewhere in the vast forest, under the endless African sky, the calf lived on, stronger, braver, and forever a symbol of survival born from pain, love, and the unyielding spirit of rest.